It's day 5 of autumn and we have a bit of a weather anomaly. We were predicted a really lovely warm sunny day and we have snow forecast. Hello again, I am Jim Bob and welcome back to Seasons in the Valley. I'm a little concerned by this snow. I have no idea when it's going to fall, how long it's going to fall for, and just how much snow we're going to end up with, if any at all. So I'm going to kind of change our plans a bit today. Last thing I want is to cut a load of grass and for it then to get buried by snow and just completely rot before we can do anything about it. So instead, what we're going to do today is we're going to finish off the harvesting that we couldn't get done yesterday. So we're going to take our combine and our grain trailer over to fields 44 and 46 and we're going to harvest those crops over there instead, and then hopefully we'll have more of an idea of what's going on with the weather and can make an adjustment from there. But yeah, very, very odd. We were predicted a day of glorious sunshine today, and upon waking up I discovered that we've actually got snow forecast. That is potentially going to completely ruin our plans for the remaining grass work. Okay, so we're almost here with the combine as well. Yeah, very thrown by this potential snowfall that we're going to get. And it's going to be a late sunrise as well, as the year is getting longer, or the year is getting older. It's getting longer and longer into the morning before the sun actually starts to rise. It's not due to rise today until around about 8:30, 8:20, something like that. So I'm going to be working in the dark for at least another hour, I would imagine. Just careful I don't damage the crop here. Just grab the header. Oh, and it's wedged on the trailer. God damn it. Right. Let's try and pull the trailer out from underneath. Hate it when this happens. You position it just a little bit too far forward and the hooks catch. This is so annoying. It's just not happening, is it? We're completely wedged. God damn it. There we go. Hate when that happens. It just completely shatters the moment when you can't even lift the header off the trailer. That is something that Giants need to fix. I mean, it shouldn't be so hard to lift a header off a trailer like that. It's just absolutely ridiculous. Right. Let's get in the combine. And we're going to manually do this harvest just because there isn't that much of it to do. So let's get the engine back on. Let's get the full working lights on so I can see what I'm doing. And I'm going to clear this away first of all. I don't like backing into the road when I'm doing my turns if I can help it. So yeah, I'm getting this out of the way first because, as I say, I have no idea when it's going to snow. It may well snow at the very end of the day, but it's just, there's that threat, that risk of it snowing the second you want to do something important You know, the minute you decide I want to harvest my crops, it'll start to snow part way through, and then you have to sit and wait for hours for everything to dry out again. And with snow, you're going to have to wait for the snow to melt if it settles. You know, because you can't drive a blade or a snowblower through a crop field. It's just going to completely trash the crop. So, you know, that's the other thing. Does snow actually kill the crop? I don't know. I've never had it snow when I've got crop on a field, so I honestly don't know if, you know, so snow that settled on a field would actually kill the crop. I suppose it's possible. If anyone else has had that interaction already, please do let me know how it happened and you know, how everything kind of shook out for you, because I'm really curious as to whether or not, you know, if you had snowfall on a field that was waiting to be harvested, whether or not it would actually stop the, you know, kill the crop off, depending on how heavy it snowed, I suppose. Yeah, please do let me know in the comments if that has, you know, been something you've experienced already. But we've got all that grass work that needs to get done, and the plan was to get it all done today with that glorious weather, because it's not just a case of the second we start cutting it, it starts to rot as soon as it becomes just, you know, available on the field like that. But I wanted to make some more hay bales, and with hay, you know, the grass has got to be dry enough for you to even run a tedder through it to turn it into hay. Now, if it rains while I'm in the middle of mowing, then not only is the grass already starting to rot, but then I have to wait and wait and wait for it to dry out to make that into hay. And all the time I'm waiting for it to dry out, it's rotting and rotting and rotting. And you end up losing so much of your cut before you've even had the chance to run a tedder through it. Oh, look, the symbols have changed. We've now got a little sunshine symbol popped up next to the snow cloud, which suggests that whatever weather is going to happen pretty soon. Of course, I've said this in the past. We've seen it happen like this in the past, and then it's been hours and hours and hours until we've had that weather change. But I don't know. I get the feeling that whatever's going to happen is going to happen early, and then we should hopefully have glorious sunshine after that. So we may still be able to get a good chunk of mowing done today, but we may have to wait until sort of late in the day to actually get it done. Like I said, even if we haven't got anything cut and it starts to rain, we're still going to have to let that grass dry out enough for us to be able to ted it. So, yeah. Going to be an interesting next hour or two, I think. So we're just about done with this field, and you can see it's starting to brighten up just a little bit. Still no sign of the snow. It's still really clear skies, as you can see, but I am now just constantly checking the skyline, looking for when it starts to get a bit hazy, a bit fuzzy, a bit cloudy, because that to me is a clear indication that the weather is about to change. We need to go and empty our trailer between these two fields. Obviously they're different crops, so let's just pop that there like that. I need to go jump back into... Oh, sun is definitely rising. Look, that wasn't there a second ago. So by the time the sun is actually up, dawn should be, you know, in about half an hour or so, maybe a little bit less. Yeah, we need to go and empty this crop out. I'm also going to get the worker started on the next field while we are emptying our trailer. And I think, if memory serves me right, I think the other field is what was the other field? Oh, it was canola, wasn't it? So we don't need... You know, I was wondering whether I needed to bring a baler up for straw or not, but it's canola, so we don't need to. Right, let's jump back into the combine. Let's go get started. There you can see that sun starting to come. It's definitely getting bluer on the skyline. This is a little bit of a bigger field. It's going to take a little bit longer, so put in my headland cut on this side of the field. Don't need it on the other side. But on this side, obviously, we do have that road. Just want to give a little bit more turning room so we don't cause issues with the traffic. There we go. Could probably do with a second cut, actually. We're not going to get a huge yield off this field because it isn't fertilised, it isn't ploughed. Might have a stage of fertiliser on it, but certainly doesn't have a lot on it. So I'm not expecting a stellar yield out of this field. Might not even need to empty the trailer at all. Empty the combine at all until we bring the trailer back and finish the field off, as with the soybean. There just might not be enough. I mean, look at that. We've done 2 quick passes on the bottom and we only have 251 litres. This thing holds 6,000. So I think we're safe. But we'll get the worker started anyway. Like I said, I'm concerned about how quickly that snow is going to hit us when it does eventually turn up. So while that's doing that, let's go and empty 3,000 litres of soybean. We really need a small trailer or something for things like this, I think. Although going forward, we're not going to have moments like this really. So yeah, maybe we don't need a small trailer. Either way, we'll go get this emptied. Oh, really bad juddering over there. Yeah, these trees, these custom trees and bushes from the season stuff, plus the sunlight, all different lighting angles, really does seem to combine in a perfect storm of lag, unfortunately, from time to time. But yeah, I'm going to get this, as I say, into the silo, and then we'll head back and pick up the rest of it. Alright, we're back on the field, so I'm going to reclaim control of the combine. There we go. And we're going to finish this field off. Everything's just, I don't know, I really want to kind of crack on and do some more work after this field because it's not going to take us long to do, but that threat of snow is just hanging over my head, and I don't want to, like I said, put myself in a situation where, you know, I start doing something that needs dry weather, and then as soon as I get started, it starts to rain or starts to snow and completely destroys my plan. Do I gamble or not? This is the question. I really don't know. I think probably what I'll do is I'll end up ploughing this field together today. I wasn't planning on doing this until tomorrow, but I think I might have to do that today now instead. I wish I knew when it was going to snow. You know, whether it was going to be AM or PM. At least if I knew whether it was going to be in the morning or the afternoon, you know, and then just a random point within either the morning or the afternoon, at least I could then start to make a decision. So if I knew it was AM, then I'd just go straight into ploughing. If I knew it was PM, that would give me a few hours to at least do a little bit of cutting and baling before that rain set in. But as it stands like this, it's just so ambiguous. It's going to snow, but I don't know when, you know. It's the most frustrating aspect of the variable weather in seasons. I love the fact that we do have this variable weather, but the fact that it's so ambiguous as to when it's actually going to change, you know, is you know, a little bit frustrating. Kind of drives me crazy a touch. So I don't know. I don't know what to do. Last little bit of the canola here, and I've kind of come to a decision. I mean, the only real grass that we've got left to work anyway, because our small field 83 has not yet grown. The only real grass area that we have left to work apart from that is, oh no wait, 83 is a regular field, isn't it? 83 is a grass field. I'm thinking of 62. 62 is the grass field that we don't have. full growth on yet. It's the one that we actually planted, and that has still yet to grow to its final stage. So we have 83, which is a dedicated grass field. That needs to be mowed, and we also have the grass area around the cow paddock that we did last time out. I'm going to gamble. I'm going to do silage baling on field 83, and I'm going to do hay baling on the cow paddock. So I'm going to start with the grass baling on 83, because if it does rain very soon, I just have this nagging suspicion that it's going to. If it rains soon and we're in the middle of mowing, that's fine. You know, it's already going to start rotting because it's grass. So we're going to lose a little, maybe accelerated rot ever so slightly, but we're still going to lose anyway. So we'll do that, and we'll bale that, and we'll silage bale that. So that'll be what we do there, and we'll wait for the weather to find out exactly what's happening with the weather. I just noticed I've never seen them do that before. Did you guys see that as well? This just retracting when I actually drop the header. Let me try that again. I've never seen it do that before. That was very strange. Maybe it was just, I don't know, maybe I imagined it. But to me it just looked like it closed in a little bit. I've never seen it do that before. I'm going to have to go back and watch the footage again later and see exactly what happened there. I may have just been imagining things, or just a little trick of the angle or something, where I caught part of the trailer instead. But I kind of lost my train of thought now. Where was I? Oh yes, we're going to do the silage baling on our small grass field 83, I think it was. Because like I said, if it does rain, well, it's already rotting anyway, because the second we cut it, it's grass, it's going to start rotting. But we don't have to worry about letting it dry out to ted it. We can just wrap it, you know, or just bale it straight away and then wrap it, and it'll be fine. So before we go ahead and do that, one thing I do need to check is, and I'm going to cut back across our field because this lag is driving me crazy. One thing I do need to check is just how much of a difference we're going to get in value between the 4,000 litre bales that we've got at the BGA and the 4,500 litre bales that we deposited earlier in the year, back in summer. So first thing I'm going to be doing is, once I've got the equipment back on the farm, is taking our telehandler over to the BGA and start dropping those bales into the compactor. One of the things I have kind of enjoyed seeing is the transition of the fields over the year. As obviously this is the field that we just harvested last time out, and you can see we've got some stuff in the background that might still be, you know, waiting to be cut. And here we've got fields that have been harvested. It all depends on the crop that the AI farmers are growing. It's been great to see the changes in the map as the year has progressed. Where we first started out, it was kind of a brown wasteland. All the fields were kind of in their, you know, their default state, or some had a little bit of stubble on, but there were a lot of fields that had been freshly cultivated, and that was about it. And then we started to see growth happening all over the map, and then crops fully grown, and now we're starting to see crops that are harvested and fields with stubble all around the map as well. It's been really nice to see that kind of change, I think, throughout the year, not just with the trees and the bushes, but also with the states of the fields that have all been growing at a uniform rate, kind of, you know, depending on the crop that's been planted. Right, let's see how much these bales are actually worth. So they were around 9.20 last time out. Let's see what they're worth this time. They're actually worth slightly more, look. So there we go, 924, 926. Well, that settles it. I wanted to keep the big baler exclusively, but these silage bales, these are worth just as the same amount of money that we were getting last time for the larger sized silage bales. They're exactly the same price, and they're 500 litres smaller. So yeah, we're going to have to switch to a 4,000 litre baler for silage baling if we do any more of that in the future. Obviously, we have got a little bit more we're going to do this time. Next year, we're going to do some proper loose silage. But in terms of silage baling, now we know exactly what sort of to expect in terms of the value of these bales. It's exactly the same, give or take a couple of euros, as if they were 4,500 litre bales. And I don't know if it's me, or is it starting to get a little bit fuzzy. I think it's just me. I just get the feeling that that weather is about to change. I don't know, maybe I'm reading too much into it. Maybe it's just my paranoia playing through now that I've decided I'm about to start mowing. Oh dear, made a mess of that. Made a real mess of that. It doesn't help that these aren't really suitable for square bales. They're more designed for round bales or loose silage in a bucket. We just have to make do as best we can. Can I skewer these two? Probably get one of them, but not the other. Unless I do it like this. Yeah, there we go. Zoom out a bit so I can see what I'm doing. And there we go, a nice little extra batch of cash for these silage bales. I'm going to attack these ones side on this time. Do them just 3 at a time. Make my life hopefully a little bit easier. And the final 3. That is a welcome little addition of some extra cash. There we go, fantastic. So we've gained around about 18,000 from that. Very nice. Actually, I'll leave that sticking like that. So I'm going to get this back on the farm, and then we'll start mowing, I guess. So as we arrive back on the farm, I'm going to do a little bit of reorganising on some of our equipment. There you can see the baler, the big baler that we've leased. That's still on lease, so we are paying every day for that at the moment. Need to kind of resolve that situation pretty quickly. We'll be returning it after we've finished, our silage baling, but I'm going to start leaving the telehandler up here next to the trailer, and I'm going to move this baler to the shed where we were, I don't have a... Do I have my rear weight attached? No, I don't. Need to go and attach my rear weight so I can actually tow the baler. Now it looks like it... Ooh, yeah, now it looks like it's starting to get a little bit cloudy. I think just as we were starting to make that decision, it's time to start baling. I think the weather is now looking like it's about to change. Again, it may just be me reading a little bit too much into it, but I think we are starting to see the beginnings of that weather transition. It definitely looks a little bit cloudier, sort of over that way, than it did earlier. Skies don't look quite so clear. It looks like it's getting a little bit darker as well. Yeah, that weather's that rain's coming. Look, well, that snow is coming. It's here. Damn it! I knew it. Didn't I say? As soon as I make the decision, I'm going to start doing something. It's going to start snowing. That's exactly what is happening, and it still won't let me hook up. Okay, so I'm going to have to move that manually. But basically, I'm going to move the baler into the shed below us, so I'll have to use the T7 for that, I think. Because it's wide enough to actually hold two balers. We're going to have two balers on the farm going forward, I think. One for 4,500 litre bales for storage, and then 4,000 litre bales for selling. So the balers are going to live in that shed there. But yeah, that weather is definitely coming now. You can see it clearly in how cloudy and foggy it's starting to appear. The light is changing as well. It's getting a bit more faded. So, now, well, we're going to have to sit basically now and wait a bit, I think, before we do anything, which is a bit of a shame. Also, seeing as we're not going to be using this baler... I know we are still. We're going to be using this baler a little bit more for hay. What I'm going to start doing is getting in the habit of actually resetting this baler after every time we use it. Now, in reality, you would never leave, you know, a part bale in the machine, because, you know, it would just rot inside the machine and cause damage to the baling mechanism. So what I'm going to start doing is, once I've done a round of baling, at the end of the day, I'm going to make sure that the baler is reset so that it empties out anything that's left in there, rather than... I can't see what I'm doing. There we go. So that it empties out and needs to be started from fresh every time we do a fresh baling session, rather than leaving part product in there, just to try and simulate that little bit of reality, if we can. So this is probably the baler that we're going to end up buying. We'll probably have to buy this next year. Certainly don't have the money for it this year. And I don't know how much silage baling we're going to get done next year, but we'll leave space in the shed so that we can actually have two different balers. I'll say one for silage baling, one for regular baling. I can just angle that a bit better. There we go. And we have a shed of balers just there. Fantastic. And there is the snow. I just saw the wet crop symbol appear. And it's starting to snow. Hopefully this is going to be a really, really short, light shower, and we're not going to get anything start settling on the ground, but I guess we'll find out over the course of time. So, as you saw, I've decided to do a little bit of ploughing while it's snowing. Get this field kind of prepped and ready to be combined. Just doing the edge here. You also saw we have a demand for soybean. Now, that's great that we have a great demand, and we actually have a crop that we can sell, but that soybean is going to be really low in value compared to what we can get next summer. I mean, it's 1,300 at the moment, which isn't too bad, but it's not good for a medium price, that's for sure. And if we look at what the actual predicted price is going to be next year, you can see in summer we're predicting more than double what we're getting right now. So I'd rather wait, on that one. That's just not a valuable enough great demand for me to take action on it. There we go. Let's just get that link just done there. Going to drive across. And link here as well. So that's interesting. There's a slight stagger in how close the field is. I'm going to have to put my working lights on so I can see very clearly. But that's where the other two fields run, and that's where this one runs. So we might have to actually either roll in a little bit further or step the other one out a little bit. Not quite sure what I'm going to do with that just yet. But regardless of which way I go, I'm just going to join the fields together first of all, and then I can get a worker to continue ploughing while we perhaps do some mowing if the rain stops or the snow stops quite quickly. We'll see how that goes. Well, we have got 1 day left, but we've got a lot of work to do tomorrow. We've got fields that need to have a cover crop planted. We've got cover crops that exist that need to be cultivated into the ground already. So, we're going to have a lot of, long jobs to do tomorrow, and I don't want to run out of time if I can help it. So, let's lift. This field actually looks like it might be a bit shorter than the other ones as well. It is. That's interesting. It's very interesting. Right, let me turn off the create fields. Let me get my clean edge on this side. There's my guideline to work from, and then we'll do the same along the top. We'll do a clean edge along the top, and we may even extend a little bit closer to the path along the top as well, so that we can link in with the other field. Kind of want to have furrowed guidelines available to follow though when we do that, to try and keep it all relatively square and straight. Okay, so I'm going to actually just add an extra couple of furrows all the way along the top here. This is my kind of guideline that I'm going to follow. There we go. This is where I need to be careful on this edge just here. I probably should have brought the roller with me as well, but never mind. Right. We have a slightly rounded corner on that field, and that's not a problem. There we go. We have a nice clean edge running all the way along the top that is slightly wider than its original cut. Just a touch. I just need to straighten it out at this end as well. And there we go. Right, let's turn off create fields. Let's do the clean edge on this side. And then it'd be nice and easy to just run through this field and get it ploughed. So we're just about done with this little strip here, but the weather seems to be stopping. It is. Yeah, there we go. The snowfall has stopped. It didn't settle, so maybe it was more of a kind of a sleet than actual snow, but it stopped. So it's going to start brightening up again pretty soon. Little patch here I actually missed. Let's quickly grab that. There we go. Just need to link these fields here together now with this strip. And there you can see it's definitely brightening up. So that leaves us some of the afternoon where we can get some mowing done and some baling done. No problem at all. I don't think the grass is going to dry out enough for us to do any tedding a little bit later, so that's unfortunate. We do still have one day left. I suppose we can try and squeeze some in tomorrow if necessary. I don't know. I mean, we were looking at maybe getting a few animals. Let's just check the kind of predicted prices of animals. Obviously, they're going to be a little bit different. Pigs are really cheap right now. And of course, we've just got rid of all of our spuds. We could perhaps have done with actually keeping those if we were going to buy some pigs. But I don't really want pigs. I'm either going to get, you know, a small number of sheep or a small number of cows. And it's not really the right time of year to buy cows by looking at this. They are predicting a price of around 7,500. That is way too expensive, even for one or two. So it's still not a bad time of year to get sheep. I might see if I can maybe afford maybe 10 sheep. You know, it depends how much more of the loan I want to hit. I would like to get some animals onto this farm. I do want to try and get into dairy on this farm, but those cows are just so horrendously expensive. Maybe we should just hold off. I think we'll just hold off and we'll just go straight to dairy cows next year when they are cheaper to buy. We'll spend a year raising them up and making sure they're well fed and looked after. It gives us more time to build up some proper supplies as well, because I don't think what we've got is enough really for a year-long supply. I think we're a little bit lacking. So yeah, we'll hold off on the animals. Oh, there we go. This bit of joinery work is done. So all that's left now is to kind of just run up and down the field. Now, this is the kind of direction that I do plan on going, across the field, but seeing as part of it's already ploughed right through the middle, we may as well just get the worker to go up and down on this section here just to get it ploughed. When we come to seed it, we'll seed it lengthways on the field rather than widthways that we're doing right now. So get this field done and then we will start attacking some mowing. So we can really get a good size, you know, a good sort of scope of the size of this field now. Now that it's all getting ploughed up like this, we can see just how big this field actually feels. It's a pretty good size, isn't it? I think we can get quite a nice little yield of crop off this next year. Not sure what I'm going to plant on this field just yet, but whatever we do plant on here, we should get a pretty decent return. You can see we've actually got a little spot there. Over there, that's a little spot of soybean that we didn't actually harvest. So if you're wondering what that little yellow spot is, it'll disappear in a second. There you go. Once we get close enough and the draw distance, compensates, it removes it. But it's a tiny little piece of soybean that is not quite big enough to actually pop up on the screen, but is there. That's what that yellow spot is. So just once more up and down this little section here, and then this is done, and we can head over back to the main farm, and we can get our small grass field mowed, field number 83. We're going to do silage baling on that, and then I'm trying to think what we need to do tomorrow. Tomorrow we need to cultivate and put down some oilseed radish on some of these fields, this one included. This will need some oilseed radish. I want to try and get a few of these fields sort of planted with that cover crop so that they can grow in at the beginning of spring. The ones that have already got a cover crop in, they're probably the ones that we're going to do our sort of early crops, so things like wheat and barley. And then the fields that are getting a late cover crop means they will probably still be growing in the first parts of spring. So by the time that they are ready to be cultivated, it might be too late in the window for us to effectively plant something like wheat or barley or canola on those fields. We'll have to see. So if that's the case, then we can maybe look at putting some soybean or some sunflowers or some corn on those fields instead, because their planting window will be a little bit later. But that's it, the field is done. So we're going to go do some mowing, do some silage baling, and then get those transported over to the BGA and leave them to ferment for a couple of days. So I've already pre-moved over most of the equipment that we need. As you can see, just there is our baler, and also over there is the windrower, the bale wrapper, the bale pusher as well. And all we have here is the actual mowers themselves. This is the last piece of the puzzle, so to speak. Everything else is kind of here, prepped and ready for a quick turnaround each time we come off this field. So let's drive in. I want to lower and turn on the front mower. Pivot a little bit. Lower and turn on the rear mower. There we go. I'm going to try and do some more sort of in-cab driving with the mowers this time, but just to get the border done, because I can't see the fences very well. I'm just going to run like this, and we have to go this way around. I like to go the other way around. I like to go sort of clockwise on the field because it's just easier with this mowing setup. But obviously we have that you do not own this field issue on the far side of the field if we go around clockwise, so that's why we're going anti-clockwise at the moment, just to do the border. Once that's done, we'll sort of head around and go clockwise again. But this is the problematic area, this bit just here. At least see, look, the front mowers just stopped working. God damn it. And now the rear mowers stopped working as well. Come on. It's getting ridiculous now. it's just made for a very scruffy, scrappy board. It's going to be fun trying to windrow that. Alright, there we go. So, border is done. I'll turn around and go back around the other way now. And this I'm going to do in cab. There we go. So this will give us another another round of silage bales, the last round of bales for the year. Some of these we're gonna sell. In fact, probably going to sell all of them if I'm honest. Seeing as we're not going to be doing cows until next year, I don't need to keep the silage bales that we've got. I am going to keep the hay and the straw though, because then it means when we do buy the cows, we've already got straw for bedding, and we can very quickly make some TMR. If actually, let me just double check before I go any further. Yeah, it's midsummer is the best time to buy the cows. So yeah, by early summer we'll be able to do more mowing, so I can get rid of we can probably get rid of the silage bales that we have in storage as well. Although, no, I'm going to save those ones for TMR making, because they're 4,500 litre bales, so they're a little bit bigger than the ones we're going to be using today. We're obviously going to be using the 4,000 litre baler for that. And those bales, just going to work it up and running for a second. Those bales themselves are worth exactly the same as the small 4,000 litre bales that we dumped earlier. So why waste the money? Why not just hang on to them and then use them for making food later in the year, or, you know, next year. So I hired a worker just to give me a straight line as a guideline. Now that I've got that, I can take over manually again. And this will take a few minutes, so I'm going to whiz around the field, get this done, and get it windrowed, get it baled and wrapped, and I'll see you when that's kind of done. So it's getting very dark, as you can see. It's coming up on 7 o'clock, but it's been getting dark for quite some time now. As the year goes on, the days are getting shorter, the nights are getting longer, and it's getting a lot darker a lot sooner. Tomorrow it's going to get darker even quicker, and then when we get into winter, you know, if the days are going to be really short, we're going to be sort of like completely dark, probably somewhere around about 5 o'clock in the evening, I would imagine. If the early days of, you know, our first year here in spring are anything to go by. So I need to get those bales sort of loaded on the auto-load trailer. We're going to take them down to the BGA, get them all kind of stacked up there, ready and waiting to ferment over the next couple of days. And then during winter we will then sell those off and get a little bit of extra cash. Any future baling that we do will be done with the big baler. I've returned the 4,000 litre baler. We don't need that anymore, because any more baling that we're going to do is going to be stuff to go into storage. So any silage baling will be 4,500 litres, so that we can use that for mixing TMR. And any hay that we get will also be 4,500 litre bales. So yeah, I've returned the loaned baler, the one that we leased from the store. That's gone back. We have no further use for it this year. We may possibly buy one for next year when we do some more baling in the summer next year, but I'm trying to get into loose silage next year, so I don't know if we'll actually need silage bales for that. We'll see how things go. Right, let's swap over into the T7 so that we can pull that bale trailer up the hill once it's fully loaded. And let's go grab the bales off the field. Interestingly enough, as you can see, it's now 7:30 in the evening. We are transporting our silage bales, as you can see, over to the BGA, and we still have the moist crops symbol showing on the top right part of our heads-up display there. So if we had tried to do any hay today, we'd have been completely screwed, because it's still not dry enough to ted. If it's not dry enough to harvest, it's not dry enough to ted, which means any grass that we'd cut with a view to making hay would just be rotting and rotting and rotting, and still wouldn't be teddable right now. And it's this time of night as well. It's unlikely it's going to actually continue to dry out much, much at all. This moist crop symbol may be here now for quite some time tonight. I imagine it will eventually dry out, but yeah, when we see it like that, it does kind of suggest that we're kind of not going to get it dried out properly. And you can also see that we also have a little rain cloud in our pending weather as well. We know it's going to be a wet day tomorrow for at least some of the day, because we have the wet weather symbol. Although, having said that, we were supposed to have a fully dry day today, and we got sleet, so you never know. But it's going to rain again tonight by the look of it, according to that. So yeah, any grass that had been done today with a view to making hay would have been completely wasted. So we kind of went the right way, I think. We'll see how things go tomorrow, whether or not we get the chance to maybe do a little bit of hay baling. I don't think we're going to have time in the end. The crop fields are much more important, so they will take priority. But we'll see. Anyway, that's it for me. Thanks for watching. I am Jim Bob, and I'll be back with another episode of Seasons in the Valley very soon.